But what non-duality means is not to, that the source of this life isn't made up from two independent things. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? So even though it seems like we're looking at multiple things, so we're looking at the table, the worktop, the curtain, the oven, the Lisa, the chair, the wall, the tiles, the bottles, the cutlery, the cups, the fridge. So even though it seems like we're looking at multiple things, we're actually not looking at any single thing. That sounds so complex for the mind. So the Buddha used to say this in one of his famous sutras, that the whole world is made from, I mean, the translation is atoms, but it must be something like tiny particles, because I doubt they had that word 2,500 years ago. So, so he basically already said it. So if you look from a scientific point of view, you can understand that we're made from building blocks, and our tiniest building block that we've discovered in life is maybe quark. Maybe we've discovered a smaller particle than that, but I think it's maybe a quark. So you could say, like, we're made of atoms, we're made of these tiny little balls that are lined up in different ways, giving the appearance that we're individual things, but we're not actually individual things. And you could also think about it as if you got a microscope out and you looked into our arm or into the computer or into the table, you would never be able to find the edge of anything. They would always go into smaller and smaller particles. Like everything's always broken down into something else. I feel like I'm not giving that a very accurate scientific explanation. I can't say that science is my strong point, but you can see that everything is interconnected. So there's nothing that's separate. Everything is related to each other and is transforming into one another. It just is happening at quicker or slower speeds. So like right now, the air is magnificently transforming into oxygen for the body, into breath, and then it's being pumped out something else. But again, can't give you all the scientific names of everything that's happening. But if you take water, okay, this is an easier way for me to say it. So if you take water, it's now being transformed into body, and then eventually it will be transformed into we, and we will be manure for something else to grow, or fertilizer for something else to grow. And it's the same with everything. It's always like moving from one thing to another. Like if you speeded up this world, this universe, and looked at it and fast forward, you would just see constant growth and destruction and growth and destruction, but it's all growing out of itself. So one thing is destroyed and then another thing grows from that, which is really miraculous. Can you get like a bigger love story than that? That everything around us is made from ourselves, and there's nothing that is born or died. And this is a problem in our language, is we're always talking in start and finish, in beginning and end, whereas in actuality there's no beginning and end, and there's no start and finish. There is constant movement from one thing to another. So then this brings up a neurosis in the human, where the human thinks, I am going to die, I am alive and I am going to die. But who is going to die? If we're made up of tiny, tiny, tiny little particles that are making up everything and just changing positions to give different forms and shapes, then who is going to die? What is going to die? But the person like identifies with being this body, with being a form, with being a name, with being your material possessions, with being your sexuality, your family identity. It identifies with all these things and then thinks, this is me, this is who I am. And I've got to keep this, I've got to maintain being me, and I've got to show my me to other people and how special I am, and I've got to be someone in this world. And this is like trying to run up a stream, because it's a total illusion. Like, and it's living under a false premise, it's living in a lie, because there is no separate you that is born and going to die. There's a character that arises with the body, just like the radiator's got the character of being a radiator, and the curtain's got the character of being a curtain, and Lisa's got the character of being Lisa, and you've got the character of being Sally, Dick, or Harry. Sally met Harry. So but that's not who you are. It creates this seeking momentum. So it creates this dynamic where you are always seeking to be something, and you always feel like, from trying to be something, this isn't a conscious game, but you feel like you've lost something. And then from that feeling of losing something, you're seeking to gain something. So there's always this seeking game in time of looking for something else, like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is it under the keyboard? Oh, what's that, a bit of food? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And everyone in humanity is like desperately looking for something, but they don't really know what they're looking for, but they think they do. So they're like, more money. Most of it's more money, more money, more money, which is obvious because money is survival. And if you don't have money, then you... In some societies, in most societies, you just go on the dole. Benefits. Family looks after you, or government. But it's connected in the mind. So most of the time it's about money and being loved. These are the two very strong momentums, but they're kind of similar, because if you're not loved, you're kicked out of society, you can't earn money, and you die. So if you fuck up and you do something really awful and everyone in society hates you, then how can you ever get a job and earn money to survive? So they're kind of like got a similarity to them, but they're like opposite ends. So yeah, well, not opposite ends, just different positions. So they seek, and then it creates a tension and a stress in the body, and you build up all these lies. So you kind of living in a lie, a constant lie. So it's like living with someone that's gaslighting you, but you're living in a like whole entire society that's gaslighted. Because you all believe that you're going to get to the end of the rainbow and find this pot of gold and finally be able to relax. But by the time that you get to retirement and you've got enough gold to relax, you're so stressed from having doing that all those years, you can't relax and you don't enjoy anything. You're just a grumpy old git, like, where's my dinner? They never put anything good on TV. They don't make bed sheets like they used to. So then you don't enjoy getting to the end of the rainbow, because you're all strung out from having worked for 60 years trying to get to the end of the rainbow. So what to be done, eh? So then you try all the therapies in the world, and then you try all the spiritual seeking, and finally you're like, ah, fuck it. We'll look into non-duality. It's like the last port of call. Like, you've tried everything to be happy. You tried maybe all the money, all the sex, all the girlfriends, all the boyfriends, all the kids. You've tried money, you've tried expensive holidays, you can never find it. You've tried therapy, spirituality, cults, and now you're like, let's try non-duality. Let's see if there's anything in that. And what does non-duality offer you? Nothing, which is also everything. Nothing is everything, and everything is nothing. And everyone's like, oh man, it's so crazy making this non-duality. What does that mean? It means who you are is what's happening. Love is. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Love is. Love is. Ding, ding, ding. You can't beat that, can you? Love is. It's the only freedom in this world. There is no other freedom in this world. Nothing, everything else won't end. I'm sorry to say it, but your karmas won't end. There's always the possibility that I just haven't arrived at that place and I don't know, but I suspect your dynamics won't end, your karmas won't end. I think it's impossible. These bodies are like got genetic predisposition, and then they've had years and years of social conditioning. So if it pisses you off, people being really noisy in your apartment, then more than likely that's always going to be a contention for you. Is that the right word, contention? A source of contention, I think that's the right way to say it. But you never know, and this is mysterious and magical. So you're going to have a tendency of ways of being, but there is this freedom that's beyond that, that feels free in all things. That's not about an emotional stability. It's not about a mental stability. It's not about a behavioral stability. And the person's like, oh, fuck, but I really want to be a better person. How can it not be about being a better person? I want to fight with my partner less. I want to be nicer to my kids. But it's not about that. If it was about that, it would be conditioned, and it would be about reconditioning yourself in therapy, and that's okay, but it's not. Non-duality is not a thing, and yet it's everything, and it's the birthright of all things. It's the birthright of the mass murderer, of the paedophile, of the saint, of the fairly good person, the average good person, the person with low morality. It's for everybody. The dinosaurs, the sharks, the crocodiles, the bunnies, the deers. It's for everything. It's the birthright of all things. It's not like in Christianity where it's like, you have to work really hard in order to get this. It's right here. The problem is what's happening most of the time is the person is focused on me, which is limited and is contracted. The me feels like a contracted energy inside the body, and it feels limiting, and there's so much focus on that. And you can't say that this is a shift in focus, but it seems to be an energetic shift that happens from being separate to not being separate. But yet the character still acts itself out. It's not about the character becoming perfection, even though that would be nice. It's not about that. And that's like the biggest surrender in the end, is allowing the character to be what it is. In its perfection and supposed imperfections. I mean, it's always polite for your neighbours to aspire to recondition yourself. It's always polite for your partner, your kids, your neighbours, your dogs, your cats, to aspire to become a better person. That's a great motto for daily living, but that's still got fuck all to do with non-duality. But I always like to say that because, I meet so many narcissistic personalities in non-duality. It really does attract the narcissists, I have to say. So I always like to say this just to try and balance it. It's like the narcissists, they don't go to therapy, they don't go to spiritual cults or anything. They're like non-duality. I am God. And then they set up a YouTube channel and start telling on everyone how they are God. So I always like to say that in case there's any narcissists listening. And now all the people that aren't narcissists will be like, oh God, I think I'm a narcissist. I think she might be talking about me. And if you had those thoughts, I assure you, you're not a narcissist. If you didn't have those thoughts, more than likely you are. So then the ones that didn't have it still So maybe somebody was only half listening and they didn't think, and they're like, oh no, I'm a narcissist, and they're concerned. The people that aren't, and the narcissist is still like, I could have her if I wanted to. Yeah, just need to send her a sexy email, you know. Tell her how enlightened I am and I could have her. Yes. Enlightenment is like the holy grail for narcissists, or the burning fire for the moths. No, actually forget that one. It's like the holy grail. Doop, doop, doop. Doodle-doot, doot, doodle-doot, doot, doodle-doot, 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 doot. So, well, I think that's the end of the introduction. And know that, like, some people, in all different cultures, you find that they have like different humors and different jokes and stuff. And just in case, like, because of language difference or cultural difference, sometimes I am joking about things I say and I'm being sarcastic, so I might say something, but I'm being sarcastic or I mean the opposite and I'm just being silly. So don't take everything that I say like really seriously, because it might be a joke, but your culture might not perceive that as a joke. And I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that, I'm being serious. It sounds like I'm being really sarcastic. When I say that.